Welcome to the Uncle's Channel. Thanks for watching today. And of course, the Christmas season is upon us, and I thought to myself, let's find a fun Christmas game to break down and go through together here on the channel. So I started going through some older games here, and I came across one called Daze Before Christmas. Now, it's not spelled D-A-Y-S, it's spelled D-A-Z-E, because it's quite the little trip Santa's going to go through while trying to deliver all these presents. Now, I never had this game growing up because it was never localized in the United States. It was only released in Europe and Australia, so this is my first time ever going through the game, and let me tell you, it's quite the odd little game here. But let's go ahead and break down Daze Before Christmas. Now, as soon as you turn the game on here and it shows you, the developer and the producer and all that, you're going to notice it's got a little bit of a devilish take to it. So it's not going to be your ordinary Christmas game, like right off the bat. But then the title screen loads up here, and it's smack dab right in the middle. You have Santa looking as jolly as ever, doing some disco moves. And of course, all around Santa here, you have all the bosses throughout the game. You have Mr. Weather off to the side, and that's legitimately his name, we discover as we journey through the game. You also have this angry looking snowman, you have this evil looking mouse, this evil looking clock, sort of like the clock from Diddy Kong Racing, but the evil version. And you got his little Jack in the Box down here in the corner, and it looks like he's dying over there. Now, he's not a boss in the game, but he is a bad guy throughout the game, and let me tell you, when you encounter him enough times in the game, you're glad that he looks like that on the title screen here. But it's just a really weird looking title screen, and it sets the game up pretty much perfectly as far as a mix of like Jolly Santa and just this weird world that Santa's gonna be journeying through. Now, when you start the game, you get a little background story here, and it talks about how the evil snowman has scared all the elves away. Pretty basic Christmas stuff. But then it talks about an evil louse. Like the bug that gets in your hair that makes you itch and whatnot. And I thought to myself, like, an evil louse, like, that's pretty unique. So I looked throughout the entire game as I was playing it, and never once was there an evil louse or even a louse at all in the game. And so I finally looked it up after I finished the game, and it turns out that the evil mouse is named Louse, but nowhere in the story here do they tell you that Louse is the mouse, so you keep looking for this Louse throughout the game. It's just an odd way to do it. But then we get to the overworld or the stage select here, and let me tell you, this is a fantastic way to do a stage select on a Christmas game, because it did like a giant advent calendar. And I always loved advent calendars growing up, because every day you open up a little box or a little tab there, has a little picture behind it, or sometimes has like a little piece of candy behind it. I love these as a kid. Even to this day, me and my wife, we still buy them. We bought one last year for our cats, and every day you got to open it up, a little cat tree behind it, and we thought the cats would love it. Turned out the cats didn't care anything about it, and they didn't like the treats either, and so that was sort of a waste. But every other advent calendar, fantastic, and the one in this game, I love the way of doing a level select here. So we jump into level 1. Now, first off, you're going to notice the game is pretty basic here. There's not a lot of different moves and things like that. You have one attack move, which is like I guess the Christmas spirit that you throw out here, or Christmas magic rather, because it looks sort of like a snowball, but I think it's just Christmas magic. And Santa can also jump, but outside of that, it's just a pretty basic platformer game. But as you journey throughout the level, you're going to encounter all these different types of gift boxes, and the blue gifts you can just simply collect and give the children later on. But the red gift boxes you have to actually bust open, and when you bust them open, you might get an upgrade like an extra life or some extra health or like a checkpoint, but more often than not, you're going to bust it open, there's going to be a bad guy hidden inside, and you have to kill the bad guy, and they turn into a blue gift, and then you collect that, and you can give that to children later in the game as well. But in order to beat the game, it's not like you have to deliver a certain number of gifts, so if you don't want to kill any of the enemies, it's not really a huge deal. But there's also another item that's hidden throughout the levels that's not in a gift box, and this is going to just simply be a cup of coffee. And the cup of coffee is basically just star power for Santa. It makes you invincible when you get it, but not only does it make you invincible, it also turns you into like evil Santa, because you grow these like little horns, and you lose your different attack magics. All you can do is use your bag like a weapon, but you become evil Santa, and it's like, why would they do it that way? Why not just give Santa like star power, or make him like large Santa or jolly Santa, any of that? Why turn him into like a Krampus character to rampage through the level? I don't understand why they would do that. But all you have to do in order to beat a level is simply get to the end, jump on the little star here, and you've completed that particular level. Level 1, super easy, takes like maybe a minute and a half to beat it. And that's sort of the story for most of these levels, except for the ones that are like extraordinary, and we're going to get to those as we go. But most levels, about a minute and a half, 2 minutes per level. Now, stage 2 is pretty much the same story as stage 1 as far as like gameplay wise, but stage 2 is a good bit shorter, and not only that, like, there's not a distinct exit to the level. You get to the end, you just sort of have to fall off the edge here, and that's when you get the star and you finish the level. But you wouldn't know that. You just simply have to sort of fall off blindly. And that sort of sets up where this game is going to go in a lot of places. It's a platformer, but there's so many hidden jumps or just simply blind jumps in the game, and sometimes it succeeds and sometimes you die, and there's no way of knowing it until you actually try it. This particular one in level 2, it definitely worked out for us. Now level 3 actually mixes it up a little bit. You finally get a new attack, you get a fire attack, but you only get it for that particular level. You don't get to carry it on later on, or you can't swap between your attacks or anything like that, but you do get a fire attack. Level 3 is also unique that you actually find a reindeer in this level, and you get to rescue a reindeer. Now there may be more reindeers like further in the game, I just didn't find them, but to me this was the only reindeer in the entire game, and if that's the case, it's like, why only include one? Why not allow you to discover all your reindeer and Santa can collect them and help him in the present delivery levels? I don't know, just sort of weird. But speaking of something weird, I meant to mention in the first level, when you bend down, you actually like pull your Santa hat down, you got your little eyes sticking out, you got your little bag off to the side, and it is a adorably charming aspect of something that Santa can do inside this game. It makes no difference on the gameplay wise, it doesn't help you avoid any attacks or anything like that, but it's just a cool little animation to have for Santa. And then we get to level 4, and this is where the daze part really comes in, because level 4 feels like the first of many fever dreams throughout the level. As far as like the presents or the enemies don't make any sense as far as like Christmas. It really just feels like something like out of Alice in Wonderland. It feels like something that someone would come up from, like from having a trip, almost like that movie Dazed and Confused, which is probably where they got the idea of Daze Before Christmas for the title here. But I mean, just look at this weird little creature here on this little conveyor belt. You go through it and you become a Christmas present, which is funny in of itself, but like the little creature there, it's like it's a mix of trippy and horrifying all in one. And there's a lot of levels like this throughout the game. It's like you get a Christmas level, and then you get a little outside level, and then you get a trippy level. And it's just really weird little combination here. I'm not saying it doesn't make the game interesting, but it's a very unique take on Christmas. And speaking of sort of trippy things, in the next level you're back outside again. You got a little snowman here attacking you, and it looks like he's just throwing a little snowball at you, pretty ordinary. But then you look closely, and the snowman's actually like ripping his head off and throwing it at you, and you're like, wow, like that is a unique way to attack me here. But as you get to the end of the level here, you actually fight your first boss, which is, of course, an evil snowman. And he's very simple. You just simply get on the same ledge as him, and you just jump up and shoot the firepower at him, and it defeats him in no time. And I do love when you kill the vast majority of the bosses in this game. They have a little sound clip that plays, a little primitive voice acting when it comes to these old 16-bit games. And I'll play it here. But I just love how it sounds when you defeat him. It's very much a sign of the times, but it's sort of horrifying and charming in its own way. And I forgot to mention, before you select every single level, you do get a little screenshot here, a little animation cell of Santa getting ready to go into that level. And most of them are pretty ordinary, but every now and then they come off a pretty good one here. And level 6 in particular was pretty enjoyable because it's like a sneaky Santa. And I just like the way Santa looks in this particular picture. But also level 6 is the first time the gameplay begins to break up a little bit. And is the fact that you get to take all the presents that you've collected in the level and you get to deliver them to kids, as far as like circling over, or as you're in your sleigh and the reindeer and you just simply drop presents down the chimney as you're going across the landscape here. And you basically journey all across the world. The first delivery location here is in the UK, and you get to see some sights around London, things like that. And it's a neat little level. Level 7 here deals with flooding. I guess, you know, Santa's going to encounter all kinds of different situations when he runs into different houses, and flooding's going to happen sometimes. And this level does focus on at least the aesthetic of flooding. But this level here in particular, it's like they sort of upped the difficulty just a little bit, but not in like fair difficulty, more as in like blind jump difficulty. And that's going to become a problem more and more as the game goes. But it's just beginning here, as far as like you're just having to jump off the ledge and hope for the best. And generally it works out pretty good in these early levels. But as it goes further in the game, these blind jumpings get very, very annoying. Level 8 here introduces the stomping aspect, which I guess you could have done throughout the game, but level 8 in particular really focused on the stomping mechanic here. But you can also kill the enemies still by using your Christmas magic, which is actually easier in most cases because the hitboxes aren't perfect in this game, but you do get to stomp on little snakes and things like that inside this level. Now level 9 goes back once again to the psychedelic side here, and you have some weird stuff in the level, sort of like in the last one, but you also have these, I'm going to call them poop creatures, because one of them looks like a literal pile of poop that sort of jumps at you. At first I thought maybe it was the louse, but it definitely wasn't the louse. I have no idea what this creature was. And then you have these little plump ones here that journey back and forth, and they sort of look like poop as well, almost like a mixture of that and something out of like Alice in Wonderland. And then you also have these boots that when you get close to them, these little legs that kick you back. And it's literally just a leg that kicks you back several platforms on the screen, almost like it's something out of like a Dr. Seuss book. But once again, very trippy, and just odd to have in a Santa type game. You wouldn't really think it'd be mixed into a jolly Christmas game, but it's got a weirdness to it. Level 10 continued in the same direction as like the dazed aspect of Christmas here. More Alice in Wonderland type creatures here, these stupid gaps you can fall through. It got pretty annoying. The game is actually getting to the annoying part around this part of the game, and there's 25 levels in the game, but it begins right here as far as like the annoyance. Level 11 is once again a boss stage, but there's really not a whole stage here. It's just pretty much just a boss battle, as we're gonna fight the evil clock or the evil timekeeper. And it's like a Tony Hawk level here. I mean, he comes down a little half pipe, jumps up across it, and you just simply have to shoot him when he's in his rolling state. And then when he comes up into the main part here, he shoots his like little gears at you, almost looks like, which it looks like he would eventually run out of that, because I mean that's how he runs as a clock. But I'm sure the game's not really focused on like what makes sense mechanic wise for this boss here. But pretty simple boss. Most all the bosses are pretty simple, but as in particular, I did enjoy the little half pipe that he comes up and down on here. So a pretty good boss battle. Level 12 is once again a delivery level. You're going across Russia here, and you're dropping, their presents down the chimney. Once again, more of the same. I do like that they have these little levels to break up the platforming though. It's just a fun little change of pace. Level 13 starts off as this once again awesome picture here of Santa being gripped by this polar bear. It's going to rip him apart and eat him, and you would think that you're going to fight like an evil polar bear in this level, but no, the most you're going to find is a little cave here with a sleeping bear in it. And I tried every way in the world to try to wake the bear up, and there's nothing you can do. He's just simply not built into the game. So it's odd that they put the picture there and then not give you a bear, but still it's a pretty fun little level here. It reminds me a lot of the DuckTales level. I think it's the Himalayas. Just love that little snowscape here, and it fits well for a Christmas game. Much better than the trippy stuff. Level 14 comes along, and this is the hardest level in the entire game. They got these holes in the ground again, and these holes are worse than any of the other holes that we've encountered so far. And you also have these little ropes you have to climb up, and the climbing mechanic for this is incredibly hard to get your Santa to grab onto the rope when jumping across. It's easier to just sort of fall through it. That's annoying. The holes in the ground are annoying. There's a little elevator system here, also annoying because you can actually jump through the metal pipe, the same pipe that you go up. So the mechanics of what's transparent and what's not is not programmed perfectly in the game, and so that's also annoying. But this level is hard, it's long, the platformings are weird, blind jumps. This is the pinnacle of the worst aspects of this game, like all in one. And there was no other part in the game up to this part where I was like just really disliking the game, but this level here was a distinct change of pace and a dislike for this game. And then level 15 rolls around, and it has this little picture of Santa here, and like this summarizes like perfectly how I feel about the game at this point. And it's almost like they planned it out that way on purpose, like to give you the most frustrating part and then give you the scene to represent like what the player is feeling. I don't know if they thought that far ahead, but they really hit the nail on the head of that one. Level 15, for the most part, is pretty ordinary compared to most of the levels, but they got a new enemy in it that's only in this particular level, and it's like a little ball of yarn with two needles sticking out of it. Just a weird looking enemy. I don't know why they put it in just this level, but there it is. Level 16 continues with the annoying side of things. Even from like the very first jump, when you jump out of the little cave here, it's easy to hit your head and it just shoots you straight down into a hole and kills you. So that's annoying. And it also has a ton of those little boot creatures that sort of kick you backwards. And at some points, it's like a chain reaction. It kicks you back all the way to the very beginning of the level to have to redo the entire level. And I didn't like this level either. So it's multiple levels in a row here that are hitting on that annoying side. And I say all that, but then level 17 rolls around, and holy cow, this is the best level in the game. It's almost like it was programmed by somebody else, because it's way better than the easy levels at the start of the game. It's nothing like the annoying levels in the middle part of the game that we just encountered. This level here is the pinnacle of what I would like to see in a Santa game. You're going through the attic level here, and the attic, it's perfect. I mean, it has the great little spiders in the attic, a lot of little barrels, the cobwebs. I mean, it's a great atmosphere. The ghost, they're a little weird, but besides that, it's a great atmosphere in the attic. The music is perfect for this level. Nowhere in this game has the music been like great. It's been like sort of weird take on some Christmas songs. This song here, it's not a Christmas song. It's just simply a creepy little song to go along with the attic. And of course, within this level, there's actually like little switches that you have to use, and the switches actually like open up different doors. That's the only time this appears in the game, and so that's a fantastic part. Also has like little cutscenes inside the level. I mean, And there's multiple aspects or stages to this level. And it actually ends with a boss battle where all the other boss battles have just simply been its own stage. This has a particular spot in this stage for the boss battle, and it actually lines up with the puzzles that you did. You have this evil mouse. You have to use the switch system in order to drop this weight on him. It's one of the best boss battles in the entire game because there's actually like a mechanic to be able to attack the boss. Overall, I mean, like it's a fantastic level. Nowhere in the game before this level do they put all of these aspects in one level or have any of these aspects at all, and nowhere after this level do they do all this again. This level right here is the pinnacle of what I'd like to see in the Christmas game, and enough good can't be said about this one particular level in the game. Level 10 is another present delivery level, and of course you're just simply going across Japan here, dropping presents down the chimneys. Once again, pretty standard. These levels don't offer a lot of variety, but they are fun, like I said, fun change of pace. Then you get to level 19, and the artwork for this level is like Dragon Ball Z Santa. I don't know, it's like gone full action here. But then you get into the stage, and it's like the shortest stage ever. Like it's over in less than 30 seconds, and it's pretty much a straight stage. There's no adventuring in the stage, nothing. You simply run straight across it, and the stage is over. I have no idea how they came across or came from one of the best stages in the game to like one of the shortest, weakest stages in the game, but that's what the game has gone for. Level 20 keeps that up. It's a super short stage, not a lot of action in it, very straightforward, and it makes me think that the developers are getting maybe just sort of lazy toward the end of the game, and they're just making the stages quick to sort of knock them out fast. And then level 21 rolls around, and my suspicions were completely correct because I just simply took a direct dash for this stage and ran through it, pretty much a straight line once again, was done in just under a minute, and the stage was complete. Level 22 gets a little bit better, has this terrifying artwork at the start. I would love to know what the artist was thinking behind some of these drawings here. Nothing really of note of level 22, but you do have this little Christmas basket that Santa gets to ride in, which, I mean, pretty cool, pretty Christmassy. Level 23, Santa's journeying to the United States of America, and let me tell you, Santa is flying in this level because he's going all the way from New York City out to San Francisco in under a minute delivering these presents, and so that's like 30,000 miles, and so Santa's going like 30,000 miles an hour. So imagine dropping a present out and hitting all this accuracy and these reindeers, and Santa's face isn't melting. I mean, Santa truly is a magical, magical being to be able to travel that fast. In level 24, you get to fight Mr. Weather, and he's one of the simplest bosses in the game. You don't actually even get to move left and right. You can only go up and down on your little cloud here, and you simply, shoot at him and kill him that way. It's a super simple boss fight. For it to be the final boss in the game, it's pretty lame. It's pretty disappointing, and I would have expected more out of the final boss for this game. But then we get the final piece of artwork in the game here to close it out, and of course you got Santa relaxing in his chair, looking pretty happy. I actually love the way Santa looks in this picture, and of course above that you get a little reindeer looking down. I love the way the reindeer looks even more than Santa, but a very unique art style for it. But also, look at that. Santa is drinking that cup of coffee that turns him into evil Santa. So like, is this sort of like a hidden ending or a cliffhanger for us as we're getting ready to finish up Days of Christmas? I don't know. I mean, maybe there's a Days of Christmas 2 out there somewhere where you get to play as an evil Santa the entire time. And then you get a pretty little credit scene, a little snow scene, credits going up. Overall, Days of Christmas, it's a weird game. It is very, very annoying about halfway through, and then it hits its pinnacle of like a really good level, and then it just falls apart into like easy nonsense toward the end of the game. Like the developers got really, really lazy. As far as like the atmosphere of the game, they really can't decide. Do they want a jolly Christmas game? Do they want a psychedelic, sort of weird, terrifying game? They can't decide. It's sort of a mix when it comes to it. And obviously that's probably what the developers had planned, but I can't say it really works super well. It's entertaining in some spots, but I can't say the game really works. The platforming stuff is a little off. I don't like blind jumps. I hate blind jumping in the game, and this game really did love its blind jumping for a significant number of the levels. But positives, great artwork in some spots, one really good song in the game, and it's one of the only retro Christmas games out there. So there are pluses, but there are also a heck of a lot of cons. But if you guys played Days of Christmas, let me know in the comments down below what you think about the game. And if you enjoyed the video, be sure to like and subscribe to the channel. Check out my other videos listed up above. By all means, go out there, find a great game to play. Just have a great rest of the day and a great Christmas as well.